It's fascinating because it really, having an effective vocabulary really literally is the key to being effective in this world. And this has been known for a long time. I mean, part of the problem is like, we might have some like research from like 1920s that proves it, but it's not like people didn't know this before. Like it was just that some research was done at that period in time that from a research scientific standpoint showed some evidence of something. But it's not like some kind of actual secret knowledge that having an effective like if vocabulary really wasn't that big of a deal, why would we even talk? What is it that makes us different than animals? Why is it that we're able to build skyscrapers and cities? Is it just because of our thumbs? I don't think so. It's like we have the ability to come up with an idea and then communicate it to other people and then show them where they can fit in with making that thing a reality. And then give them incentives to do it and explain why those incentives are about. Like, in other words, we can sell them on stuff and we can communicate, we can express, and we can admonish, and we can all kinds of different ways of expressing ourselves. And how is it that someone like Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or Lao Tzu or Confucius or anybody is able to have an effect right now, thousands of years later or hundreds of years later, whatever the case may be? How is it? Yeah. It's simply because somebody or they wrote down what they were thinking about. Whether they wrote it or somebody else, it doesn't matter. The point is it was written in words. And so the words become like a software that literally operates these bodies, software that was written 2,000 years ago, but there's a bug in it because like Jesus said, give as you want to receive, but we don't have that. Even though everybody knows it, everyone's heard it, right? People go to church, billions of people go to church and that is founded upon that person's words, but then the things he said are not implemented. But that's, again, emotional bias, other things come in. And so why am I bringing that up? Because when you brought up the vocabulary point, yes, there's a vocabulary of business. There's a vocabulary of whatever the thing is. If you're a chef, you have a certain vocabulary. Just go talk to somebody who's like an expert in their field and just let them talk to you as if you were an equal to them in that. Within a few minutes, you're lost because they're using all this technical stuff. You have to stop like, okay, but when you say a souffle, like what exactly is a souffle? Like, how is that different than just like a cupcake? You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, right? And then, oh, well, okay, this, and they start getting all technical and they within each thing, there's a lot, you could just like open it up and there's like all this extra stuff in there that you didn't even know was there. You just heard that one thing, you had an image in your mind and you're like, okay, that's what that is. When they start explaining, you're like, whoa, that word has a lot more inside of it than I realized. There's a lot more detail, but vocabulary goes even beyond that. It's the sum total of everything you know all together. So it's not just your business vocabulary. It's also your vocabulary of how you feel about yourself. What are your desires? What is your fears? Because that affects how you talk to your wife and your kids. It also affects why you're in this business and what you're trying to get out of it, and why you might put shareholder profits over the well-being of your employees or whatever the case may be, because you're driven by desire for power, or maybe you're just driven by you didn't get enough attention from your parents and you use it as a way to manipulate others and you don't even actually care about the money. I'm just giving an example, right? Like, everything that's inside of you is all the words that are not necessarily verbalized all the time, but it's like that software running everything about you. It's your sum total of your whole personality and everything. That's your vocabulary. So like, I kind of have got to this point of just condensing to, of course, this doesn't make sense to the average person initially, if I were just to say this, but I say like your vocabulary is everything that you can do, right? That's actually your vocabulary. Now, people say that's not what vocabulary means. Well, but it is what it is.